Let's talk to Melissa.
Okay, so welcome everybody. This is Bennett Tchaikovsky over here. I'm the accounting professor here on YouTube. I'm also an accounting professor at Irvine Valley. I'm joined here by Stephen Grinberg, who is one of our amazing tax instructors here at Irvine Valley College. What we're really kind of excited about, and you're going to see the beauty of our new system. I can't be too sarcastic. Hopefully we're going through here. We're at ivc.edu and we're doing a little bit of a preview of a class we're going to be teaching this fall, or that Stephen will be teaching this fall. So if we go over here, fall 2025, campus is IVC, and then the subject is going to be accounting. We're going to do a search, and we're going to do a display of all 50 records per page. And that's going to take us down over here to international income taxation. Okay, and let's see here. Okay. So of course, when I look at the class here, and I'm going here to the syllabus, and just give me one moment, I'm going to get a better version of this. So this fall 2025, Professor Grinberg here will be teaching International Income Tax 1. And this is Accounting 219A, and I'm kind of laughing just because, well, we may be the only community college in the US, and I don't know if this is true or not, that's teaching international income tax. But we had Stephen, when he was with the Internal Revenue Service, had a lot of experience with international taxation. And we're kind of doing this class for a few different reasons. There was a few students that wanted it, but I think also a lot of accounting firms kind of getting their staff that's just graduating from a four-year university. This class is really not taught at the undergraduate level. And this is a much more of a something you'd see in law school, but at 46 bucks a unit, if you're a student in California, you're gonna get what you pay for, right? So it's amazing. So Stephen, talk to us a little bit about, just really briefly, about the different, at least for this first class, where we're covering treaties, Form 1042 withholding, foreign tax credits, Subpart F dividends, and then transfer pricing. If you can just kind of give us an overview of of this class.
Well, I'm very excited to be. I believe we probably are the only community college, and I would imagine I, mm, I would even say probably the only non-graduate school
Yeah,
that teaches international taxes. So what we'll be covering this class is international taxation. So international taxes, the concepts, the law, totally different than anything else that you're going to learn in taxes. So it's and it's a very large part of the tax code in terms of importance because almost every large company has international transactions. And my belief is by taking this course and learning about international taxes, and again, this is my opinion, it makes you more marketable. And why
yeah,
do I say makes you more marketable? Because you can go in an interview. Every college who teaches taxes teaches the same things, right?
yeah,
What's income, what's expenses, how you calculate cost of goods sold,
right,
what's a net operating loss deduction. So yeah, you and every other person who goes on a job interview basically can talk about the same thing. But if you can go into an interview and say, well, I may not have done it, but I have learned it. I'm aware of it. That's I believe that puts you a step up on your competitors.
right.
If you go into one of the big four, all the big four, and I would imagine all the next category down,
Yes, they all have international tax
they
practices.
all have international tax practices. And so you can go in an interview and say, listen, maybe I haven't done it, but I understand it. that makes you more marketable because now they're looking at you and they're saying, okay, we have a potential employee who we don't have to we're going to have to train on certain things, but they already understand the concept. We don't have to start from day one teaching you what international taxes is. So
Right,
we have a candidate walking through the door that understands international and understands the different concepts.
right.
So what this course will do is it will give you the basics of international taxation. And and we start off with treaties because certain things like because treat you can't on form 10 we have form 1042 withholding, but you can't do form 1040 withholding without understanding treaties first. So in order to so that's why treaties is the kickoff. And by the way, we taught at the IRS, as I was an international examiner for 33 years
Oh,
at the IRS, we start off by teaching treaties. So
okay,
that's how we start our new international examiners. And and then we go through different concepts. We do treaties, then we do Form 1042 withholding. For those of you not aware of it, that's a separate tax return. And then we go on to a different concept, foreign tax credits. That is a huge part of any corporate tax return that has international transactions. And by the way, individuals all can also have foreign tax credits as well. So an individual can claim foreign tax credits on an individual return. So we go to foreign tax credits. Then we go to another concept called Subpart F.
okay,
Subpart. So you have to come take the class, but I'll give you a quick preview. I call Subpart F the make believe. And why I call it make believe is because we're taxing you on income that you actually, not we, but the IRS is taxing you on income that it's a deemed dividend. Subpart F is a
okay,
deemed dividend. Deemed in terms of you didn't actually receive anything, but a tax code says, okay, if you have CFCs, meaning controlled foreign corporations, and
right,
that CFC earns certain types of income, then that's deemed as income to their shareholders. And again, it doesn't even have to be corporations. Individuals can also have Subpart F income. So if an individual's a shareholder in a foreign corporation, they could also have Subpart F income. It's not just limited to corporations. And then you have transfer pricing, huge part of the tax code.
right.
Tremendous, not, it's kind of funny because the actual
By,
statute
by the way, I know students at big four accounting firms, this is all they do.
is all and
It's
this is
that
a
big of a deal.
huge moneymaker, huge moneymaker for accounting firms, and the IRS has a whole subdivision just just doing transfer pricing. They have economists, they have tax law specialists. And economists have certain things that can do, tax law specialists certain things they can do, and they just do transfer pricing. And again, that's also a creation of income where it's the IRS comes in and says, well, okay, corporation, you had transactions with foreign related parties. So, but we're going to redo your transaction. We think you either paid, if it was an expense, you paid your foreign entity, your foreign related entity too much money, or if you're, let's say, providing a service to the foreign related entity, we think that didn't get paid enough. So,
Wow.
so for instance, let's say you provide a service to your foreign corporation and you report $1,000 in income for that service. We'll just do a simple example. Can come in and say, well, based on our understanding of the law, and there's a whole way of how they apply it, instead of earning 1,000, you should have earned 10,000 in that transaction. So they will make an adjustment, increasing your income by the $9,000 for the difference between what you reported as 1,000 and what they determined is what's called arm's length. As you can see, it's sub point 0.4, different methods to determine arm's length price. So and not only do accounting firms all have international departments, the big accounting firms, all the big corporations all have every big corporation in this country has their own tax department. And within their tax department, they have a sub part of their department that specializes in international taxes. So, and to me, this is a huge, a huge part of the code in terms of importance because the government puts a lot of importance on these concepts of big of international taxation because you can have a lot of potential issues. And so we're going to start. It's a series. It's so we have international taxation part one. These are the topics we're going to be covered in
Right.
international.
And Stephen, just real fast, so by the way, this is not everything we have. We also have international tax too. We're going to be trying to teach this class in spring of 26. But just looking at this over here, these are kind of the other topics that are going to be kind of going through the guilty, the beat, the FD. I'm not doing this justice, but as you can kind of see, this is an incredibly comprehensive 2 semester course. And Stephen, any kind of comments on like the second, any kind of thoughts on the second semester of 219B?
Yeah, the second semester is a continuation of different international issues. Guilty and beat, super, super important
Okay.
issues. Beat is actually a tax. It's an additional tax. So beats an additional tax that is assessed on your tax return. So that's why when I sometimes when I teach the class, I say, corporate tax rate is 21%. Well, technically, not really, because you have additional taxes, and beat is one of the additional taxes.
Right.
Guilty, guilty is on kind of along the same lines of Subpart F, except it's not a deemed dividend. It looks at income of certain specialized foreign corporations. I think that's the correct term.
Yeah.
And it pulls the income in of those foreign corporations onto the US tax return. So if you own certain types of foreign corporations and they earn what's called guilty, then the taxpayer has to report that guilty income currently.
Okay.
For D, that is a deduction that
Okay.
taxpayers can claim for certain types of what they call foreign derived tangible income. So a deduction they can claim on their U.S. tax return.
Okay.
Foreign corporations doing business in the U.S. That's another big issue. Kind of gets as you can see, Form 1120F, that's a separate tax return. But when you get into when foreign corporations who are operating what they call in branch form are required, what's their how is their tax, how are they treated, right?
Right.
When as a foreign corporation is doing business in the U.S., does it are they required to file an 1120F form and report their U.S. sourced income and pay tax on a U.S. sourced income? And there's also something called branch profits tax, which only applies to 1120Fs as
Okay.
well. That's embedded in here. Then we have kind of like the catch-all foreign currency, 367 transfers, dual consolidated losses. And that's different parts of the tax code as well. And we'll be discussing how you calculate those and what those are. So,
Oh,
and it's it's a big part. I mean, like I said, every big corporation has international transactions. So every big corporation has their own, like it was mentioned before, they all have their own tax department. They all have people specialized in international taxes. Same thing with accounting firms. So the purpose of this two-part course is to is for you to become familiar with international taxes and understand the basic concepts of different parts of the international tax code. And hopefully that will make you more marketable.
right. No, this is awesome. I mean, I think honestly, anybody who is actually at an accounting firm that is doing international tax and they're looking to kind of supplement their employees' kind of knowledge of international tax, I think these are going to be great classes to take.
Great, thank you.
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
so it's great for people already in the field,
yeah,
people who want to break into, and then people who are maybe be at a firm and they want to transfer over and do international taxes. They're ready with the firm, so you can, and it just makes you more well-rounded in terms of understanding how a tax return works, because If you
And
look,
yeah, I'm
but
sorry.
if, I'm sorry, if you look at a Schedule C of an 1120, the Schedule C of an 1120, that's where it has all their what they call dividends and inclusions. And there's a lot of several lines in there that specifically are for international. And so it will give you an understand, and rather than just being a preparer where, okay, someone gives you the number, at least this will, at least even if you don't get into international, you'll understand how they arrived at that number.
Right.
So, so like I said, so if you look at, if you look, just look like a quick look at the Schedule C, what they call the dividends and inclusions, and you'll see that there's different lines there for international, and then you have the foreign tax credits in 1118. So even if in, like I said, so even if you're not going to get into the national field, it helps to understand. It gives you a
Yeah.
better picture of the, rather than just, okay, someone gives you the number and you just put it on and you know where to put it on a tax return when you prepare it.
Right.
This gives you an idea of how they arrived at it, and you can ask further questions.
Stephen, this is amazing. I mean, like, so I mean, like, and by the way, I wanted to as I want to kind of end with this, right? So we've been extremely fortunate that all of the tax courses that we're listing out here today have actually successfully made. And usually with our Office of Instruction, they've been incredibly generous with us in the past and being allowing us to kind of go through and offer these courses. But obviously, if there's only one person signed up for Accounting 219A or 219B, then we cannot offer the class.
Yeah.
But we really do appreciate your support. And like, obviously, I think this is at, if you're a California resident, Irvine Valley College, we charge 46 bucks per unit. There's obviously a health fee and some other things, but it's by far one of the best deals educationally in town, as with all California community colleges. And yeah, we hopefully to see you at the fall semester. If you want to reach out to myself or to Professor Grinberg, you can find us both by going through the IVC website. And I will also leave my things here below. But thank you again for watching these previews today, and we'll look forward to seeing you on future videos. Stephen, aside from saying "Go Mets," is there anything else you want to share?
No, I look forward to having everybody in class. Thank you very much for taking the time to do these interviews.
No worries. Thanks, Stephen. Thank you.